Tanse. Hello, Eagle Heart Woman with you today. And I have an interesting little update for you. Now, if you've watched some of my former videos, you'll know that I'm the founder and president of Skydancer Indigenous Cultural Center and Art Gallery, which I started with $0. And we just had a meeting on Saturday, a couple days ago, and brought on new board members who have amazing skills. So, one of my affirmations or mantras is the right people, the right resources are always coming to me. I'm in the right place at the right time. So, it's been a couple years since we've been open, and I have always had a vision of community. I have been down several times to Santa Fe and the Albuquerque Taos area of New Mexico. And down there, they have something called artist colonies. So they're communities where creative people live, they create art, and these communities are absolutely, they're alive, they're glowing with energy, with the spirit of creativity. We don't have really anything like that up here in Canada that I know of, at least not in Alberta. But I think that if I were to have my vision uh, come from the spirit world into this physical world, it would be a place where people could actually come and live. It would be like an intentional community that would gather, in the morning for prayers slash meditation and have a one communal meal together if they wanted. They would live separately, but there would be a lot of, I guess, unity running through the community. I experienced something like this when I traveled to Asia in ashrams, and that you cannot, with the energy that's built up in communities like that, that they just can't compare to the way that we live most of the time, which is in separate little boxes. And where I am, you hardly know your neighbors. And it's interesting, too, the way our houses are built. The garages are the first largest thing that you see from the street, and then the house is kind of set back. So, whatever happened to the house that had a nice big veranda on the front and people were waving to their neighbors and, sitting out there in the summertime, and it just made a very connected community. And I am all about connections, connecting with culture, connecting with our humanity, connecting our spirits to create something powerful and to be something wonderful in ourselves and to each other. I found a drawing too that I had done back in probably, I must have been like 22 years old. I had gone down to Los Angeles for a creativity workshop, and I had a huge piece of paper. It was a drawing that I did, and we were supposed to be drawing out what it was that we wanted to bring in the world. So, not being an artist, my drawing is a bunch of stick figures sitting on the ground and welcoming the sun together and looking very joyous. And there's rainbows in the sky and animals, stick animals. But you get the picture that I've always been interested in bringing people together, in making them comfortable, in making things happen. So again, took me a long time, but Skydancer is the seed for that. It's the nucleus of the molecule that will bear fruit and become a community. So I probably mentioned that the town that I live in has offered some land for Skydancer to have some teepees in the summertime. So this is some land where we can start to create a cultural camp. So nobody's staying overnight at this point. Well, they are, but it's not residential. People will be able to stay in these teepees and overnight and enjoy indigenous cuisine, storytelling, probably how to tan hides. A lot of traditional activities will draw people to Skydancer's Indigenous Cultural Camp. So I went to look at the property that the town had offered. The mayor spoke to me with a couple of his councilors and had a big map about a week ago when I went into his council chambers and showed me this little 5.5 acre parcel. So last Friday, I went to walk the property. It is absolutely freezing here in Canada. It was about 25 below that day. But, dressed warmly, I headed out with my executive director, and we were about to walk through to the property when the manager of the museum, and that's the property where this little postage stamp of land is, stopped us. And he had been told by the town that perhaps they were looking at letting us use the land or set up a cultural camp. So he sat down and spoke to us about, the lay of the land of the museum. And we were just about ready to go when he said, "Do you know, north of us or west of us, and that is the way that my little town is growing, there's quite a bit of land that was for sale for an enormous price. It's been dropped. And if you were to ever take that over, you would make enough money selling off some of the land for real estate because it abuts right onto the highway and there's trees." And I'm going to actually show you a video of that land today. It was even colder today than Friday. It was like minus 30 this morning. So you'll not see very much. You'll see an expanse of white and some trees, but I'm going to give you a full circle view. And you can see that where this land is, it is connected to the town's community hall, a beautiful community facility, and a pavilion. So there's already wonderful services and wonderful buildings already established there that are all about community. They bring people together for music festivals. And well, this area where the museum is a prime area for, as I said, music festivals, cultural celebrations, huge artist markets, farmers markets. So it would be a wonderful, vibrant place to just be beside for Skydancer to have the museum and the community center as neighbors. So I'm mentioning this. It's kind of exciting. It boggles my mind to think that Skydancer might have real estate under its belt, and a price tag like I've just spoken of is crazy. But somebody told me about the theory of relativity. So when you were like 5 years old, 25 cents, and I'm dating myself, so maybe I'll say $1, was a huge amount of money. And as you got older, that money wasn't, $1 wasn't much at all, and you couldn't buy barely anything with it. So skip to that, from that to how a millionaire or a billionaire feels about $3 million, if that's an amount that it would take to acquire a larger piece of land. It's not very much to them. It's probably, I guess it is a good amount, but to them, it's not very much. So it's all relative. And when I told you that I could barely say the 3 words, "I am rich," to myself, as I'm feeling abundant, that amount of money is easily gotten. And it's not very much at all because I am so abundant. So I can put that amount into perspective, and it doesn't seem so overwhelming. And one step at a time, one goes a long way. So the first thing I had to do is actually look at the land, and I will now continue to visualize and draw the exact people that need to come to make this vision of a community, perhaps housing for elders, perhaps an Indigenous spa with sage and sweetgrass, steam baths, and Indigenous cuisine. You can see how a vision like that can just be so exciting. And when people have huge visions like this, when they realize them, I think that they can realize that they've come here to do what it is that they need to do. And I'm not going to speak too long today. I wanted to end this episode with my personal, I guess, day of manifestation, what I do. And I actually had to write them down, which I have right here, because I do a lot of things during the day to make sure that I bring what I want from the spirit world into the physical world. And upon waking up, as you have seen, I have a glass of water after I've blessed it and actually made it into a kind of medicinal elixir to help my body be healthy and perform at peak function. So I will have my water and I will say to myself, this is my favorite affirmation: isn't it amazing that something wonderful is happening to me? So that just sets the tone for the day. Isn't it wonderful that something amazing is happening to me? And it usually does, on a small scale or a big scale. I will go out and see a beautiful sunrise or a rabbit. It's so cold here, but we have rabbits all over our neighborhood. And there's one that often sits by a statue that I have in my front yard. And I just love to see him. Or there's chickadees that have this beautiful call and they'll come. So again, spot the miracle, right? Like I keep my eyes open for the magic and the beauty of my day. And that just ups my energy, ups the frequency of my thoughts to attract other high frequency things, people, resources, love, health, abundance into my life. The next thing I do is write in my gratitude journal, because one of the fastest ways to realize what you want is to thank the universe creator for having what you want already. You already have it, and you're just saying, thanks, universe, for the new job, or thanks for the raise, or thanks for the wonderful family gathering that we had, even if you haven't had it already. All of this goes without saying that you need to know what it is that you want. And one of the things I was going to mention to you today is if you're not quite sure what you're here to do, you're a little confused, try to go back to your childhood and think about what it was that you really liked to do as a child. Now, I went to a Catholic school, very religious school when I was younger, and I always told my mom that I wanted to be a nun. And she used to look at me and say, Diane, that's what you say now, but you won't want to be when you grow older. Well, I never did become a nun, but I became a very spiritual person as I studied my indigenous culture and spent time with the elders in ceremony, at powwow dances, at community gatherings. So in a way, I did become that nun and follow a spiritual route in life. So if as a child you liked to put on a circus, or you liked to build cities with your blocks, or you liked to draw maps, kind of look back and see what that brand new soul wanted to do in the world before the world happened to the soul and you kind of got taken in by the physical world and perhaps other people's wishes for you. So after I've written in my gratitude journal, I will meditate or listen. I will meditate on my own, just counting my breaths and trying to calm my mind, or I am calming my mind, or I will listen to a guided meditation that takes me deep, deep into myself. And I will imagine, again, what it is that I want. That's a touchstone for me, that I always come back to what it is that I'm creating. And when those thoughts come that kind of negate what I'm trying to do or say, Diane, this will never happen, I just thank them for speaking up, but politely excuse them and go back to my affirmation or my visualization. I will be doing some Skydancer work next and making lots of wonderful connections in the community, making relationships happen. And then as I fall asleep, I will listen to a recording of my visualization recorded, and I'll listen to that, or I'll watch a subliminal video of winning a lottery or playing the right scratch card to win the resources that I need to have to create this wonderful community. And that's what I fall asleep to. So you can see that my life, my day is imbued with manifestation, with exercises of manifestation. And I don't look at this as work. I look at it, well, it is kind of my job right now to continue fueling, to continue creating the vision that is what I am bringing into the world. And I have a friend who astral travels, which means in his sleep, there's an Ojibwe or a Cree way of thinking that we have two souls or two spirits. And one stays in the body to make sure that the body remains breathing and functioning, but another one can leave and go into other realms. So my friend Francis says that he'll often go to another dimension. A lot of people say that there are 12 dimensions, and he'll be able to see the creations of people over on the other side. So these are things that people have started to create using their thoughts, making thought forms on the other side, but oftentimes they'll be incomplete. There'll be a bicycle that a child perhaps thought about. There will be a bicycle that a child thought about, but it'll be missing the front wheel. Or there'll be a house and the formation will have been made, the foundation, but it doesn't have any walls. So what my friend Francis was saying is continue to visualize, continue to create what you want with your thought forms on the other side, in the spirit world, and bring that into this dimension. So that's a little bit on how I create my day to create, and I hope it helps you. So I hope you enjoyed today. Tansei. So I hope you enjoyed today. Kinanskomatin. Hi. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow.